Hey guys, and welcome back. Now today is a very special day in that the trailer for the new Sohei hero has just been released. He is going to be a new samurai faction hero. It's been a while since we've had a new samurai, the last one being Kyoshin. We're going to have a look at the trailer quickly and then we're going to get into the detail and discuss it. So hope you enjoyed the trailer. Let's have a quick look at it. Alright then, so that was the trailer, and as ever, Ubisoft do an amazing job of hyping us all up to the absolute maximum. So I guess the obvious question then is, who are the Sohei? Sohei actually translates to warrior monk, and historically they came from around the 10th to 17th century in Japan. More specifically, they were actually classed as being Buddhist warrior monks as well. Now, I'm definitely not a history YouTuber or expert, so if you want to learn more, there's loads of information online, which will bring us nicely to the next topic, which I think is going to be the biggest topic around this character, which is the weapon, or should I say weapons. Not one, not two, but I believe 7 different weapons for one character. Yep, you heard that right, 7 weapons, which I think is most easily shown via one of the first shots we get actually of the character, which is this one here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weapons there. Now the next question, of course, is how on earth does one person wield 7 different weapons? Are they some sort of octopus, or do they do something else? And that's what I guess we can speculate in this video. But before that, let's have a closer look at each of the weapons individually. Now, all of the clips you're about to see are from the For Honor Twitter page. Over the past week or so, they have been releasing one about every day or so. We don't know the names of every single one in Japanese, but we're just going to basically just describe them. I'm also going to use the same numbering system that I did in the earlier clip as well, just to keep things simple. Now, to be honest, all of these weapons are kind of like the weapon of every single samurai that we've got, just put into one. So this character's a little bit greedy in that he's basically just taken every other samurai's weapon in some ways. Now, the first one, of course, looks very much like a spear. I believe it could be called the Yari in Japanese. It looks slightly different to Nobushi's in that the top of the spear has got kind of like a part of it coming out at an angle, which is slightly different to her, of course. Now, in the trailer, the Sohei character is actually holding this weapon, so it looks like this could be his base stance or whatever it's going to be. This looks like it's going to be the weapon that he's going to be holding the majority of the time when he's like idle or out of lock, for example. Of course, remember this is a speculation video. We haven't had the full details released yet. That's going to be on the Wednesday live stream, so things could change. I might not get them right, but this is just my opinion of what I think it's going to be. Now, I think this is going to be number 2 because it's a bit difficult to see which one's positioned on his back, but this one nonetheless looks like a mallet, kind of wooden mallet type weapon. Just looking it up online, I believe the Japanese name is a Otsuchi. So that looks pretty cool. You could bonk some people on the head with that or otherwise. And the next one is kind of unique for a Japanese warrior. I certainly haven't seen a weapon like this before, but it's basically like a trident or like a short trident. So that's interesting. A little bit different to gladiators, of course. It's sort of curved at the edge with the middle one being a little bit shorter of a point than the other two. Instinctively looks like more of a weapon you'd use for maybe parrying or blocking or maybe even deflecting. We shall of course have to wait and see. Next one on his back, going from right to left here, which I've labelled as number 4 on the main picture, and probably the most recognisable out of all of the weapons, and very much like a baby Shigoki's weapon as well. This weapon, of course, looks like it's the heaviest of them, so that makes me think about what kind of attacks he might do. So perhaps this is the weapon he does for his heavy attacks, who knows, or maybe some sort of counter attack. Of course, it does look a bit shorter than Shigoki's, kind of looks more like a baseball bat, but I think it's some variation of the Kanobo, which is a Japanese samurai club weapon with metal spikes on it. Next one is quite a recognizable one. It has been used by Shinobi, or at least a variation of this has been used by Shinobi. This one has not got the chains, however, which he does. Slightly longer handle though. Of course, Shinobi has 2 of the sickles, which he wields 1 in each hand, so this one could potentially be used 2-hand. Japanese name-wise, it's either the Kasuragama or a Kama, I think it could be called. But again, I'm not an expert on these matters, so I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me if I am wrong. And so that brings us to the last 2, which are held down on his left hip. Definitely one of the more simpler weapons of the 7 that he has, very similar to Orochi's katana, but I think this one, as it's slightly shorter, it could be one of these that you see here. Could be maybe the Tanto or the Wakizashi. Definitely shorter than a normal regular katana, which is the base samurai sword. So just thinking about it, he could use this for some fast attacks, maybe a light attack, maybe a deflect, something like that. And so that brings us on to number 7, which is potentially his final weapon, unless I've missed something. And as for the Japanese name, could be wrong again, but from what I've seen online, it looks like it could be called a kataba, but otherwise it's sort of like a saw/sword weapon. I'm hoping to see some very gruesome executions with this weapon, that's for sure. Quite similar to Ocelotl's Makwa Whittle weapon. Of course, this is less clubby, though, if that's actually a describing word. But of course, our Sohei character here has got his own clubby weapon, as seen earlier, so that's not going to be a worry for him. But it does beg the question, though, of what he will be using this weapon for, which brings us nicely to the next part of our speculation for this character. Now, 7 weapons means 7 different things. So what are those 7 different things going to be? Now, initially you could say, oh, it might be his feet, might be to do with what he does in 4 vs 4. And although it's still possible, it's not what I believe it's going to be, because to have 7 weapons and to only use them in very rare situations seems like it would be a lot of work to do for a character just for that. So I think it is going to be a main part of all of his moves, all the way through his moveset, his abilities, etc., that can be used anywhere at any time. Now, every player knows the absolute basics of For Honor. We all know that there are 3 attack directions: top, left, and right. And there are 2 different types of attack, which are the heavy and light attacks, as well as a combination of both, which is the zone attack. So the theory that I am most going with at the moment is that it is going to be each single one of these attack variations for each weapon, with the 7th being the zone attack. But if it's not this, then it could also end up being like a deflect or a parry counter, which is possibly that trident, because of course we've got left light attack, top light attack, right light attack, and then we've got the left heavy attack, top heavy attack, and right heavy attack. So that would make 7 instantly. So that's the theory I'm kind of going with at the moment. But of course, let me know in the comments what you think. Is it going to be feats, or is the 7th one going to be feats? Is he going to parry with his primary weapon there, which is the spear? He could also have a bash. That's also another option. He may even have like a hidden weapon here as well, because as we can see here, there are 7 weapons there. But he might even, well, he could even bash with his fists. I mean, it didn't stop, it hasn't stopped any other character, or kicks, etc. So he might have a bash and also have a parry counter with that trident, or maybe even the sickle. He might even parry with that and use the trident for something else, maybe for poking people's toes out, as Gladiator loves to do. But talking of feats, if we go back to the actual description of the character that I found online, the Sohei Buddhist monk warriors were known for being quite spiritual, so perhaps we'll see something similar to Ocelotl in that they could use some sort of spirit realm fantasy abilities. So that's not off the cards just yet either. And I guess the final question is going to be, how strong is this hero going to be in both 1 vs 1 and 4 vs 4? And of course, as you can understand from a trailer, that's impossible to know. We don't know his moveset, we haven't seen him move on the battlefield. But what I would say is that because he has got 7 different weapons, potentially the animations are going to be quite distinct for each of them, which means that he may be easier to react to than we know. But then again, they might give him 400 millisecond attacks on everything, so that could also throw things out of the water. But nonetheless, he looks like an awesome hero. I will definitely be playing him as soon as I can. Samurai characters have always been the ones that I've gone to just because I think they're the coolest and they have the most stylish moves, as everyone who's watched my channel since the very beginning will know. So very much looking forward to the stream on Wednesday and then him being released on Thursday. So that's going to be a very quick analysis of the trailer and speculation as well from myself. Of course, the character, as I mentioned before, hasn't been released yet, so I don't know all the details. I would welcome any opinions from yourself in the comments, of course. Maybe I've got everything wrong. I could well do. I've been wrong before, obviously, and I'll be wrong again. But thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you have, and subscribe if you're new. Thanks very much for watching. Shit. 覚悟はできてるか